Okay, Assalamualaikum and selamat sejahtera. So now we look at subtopic 3.2 for chapter 3, which are speciation. Okay, so first of all, you have to know the definition of speciation. Okay, so what is a speciation? It is a formation of new species from pre-existing species. Okay, so before that, you have to understand the concept of species. Okay, so actually, what is species? It is a group of population whose member have the potential to interbreed with each other and produce fertile offspring. So how we consider the new species is formed? Okay, it is once the organism cannot interbreed with each other and also it cannot produce the fertile offspring. So that one we consider new species is already form. Okay, so that's why if you look at the definition of the speciation, it is the formation of new species from pre-existing species. Pre-existing species means species yang dah sedia ada. Maksudnya dia boleh membentuk species yang baru. So there are two types of speciation. The first one we call as intraspecific speciation. Another one interspecific speciation. So what is intraspecific speciation? It is the formation of new species from a parent species. Okay, so means that if you look at this diagram, okay, let's say the parent species is A. Okay, so from this single species, it can form the two different species here, which are species B and also species C. So what is the difference with interspecific speciation? It is the formation of new species from the hybridization of two different species. So means that when there are two different species interbreed with each other, so let's say species A interbreed with species B, so it will produce new species which is species C. Okay, so this is the difference between intraspecific and also interspecific speciation. Okay, so now we look at the modes of speciation. So there are two modes of speciation. The first one we call as Allopatric Speciation. Second are Sympathetic Speciation. Okay, so first of all, for modes of speciation, you have to differentiate. Okay, because of what? You have to know what is allopatric and what is sympathetic speciation. Okay, so firstly, we look at allopatric speciation first. So what is allopatric speciation? So it is the formation of new species occur within a population that is separated geographically due to geographical barrier. Okay, so secara ringkas, what is allopatric speciation? So it will involve formation of new species, terbentuknya species yang baru. Okay, that occurs within a population that is separated geographically. Maksudnya dipisahkan secara geografi because of what? Due to geographical barrier. So what are the example of geographical barrier? The example are river shifting. Okay. River shifting their course, glacier migrating and also mountain ridge forming. So semua ni adalah example of geographical barrier. Okay, and then what is sympathetic speciation? So it is the formation of new species in a population that live in the same geographic area. So means that for sympathetic speciation, it does not involve geographical separation from its parent population. Okay, so means that based on the modes of speciation, actually both allopatric and also sympathetic speciation, it can lead to the formation of new species. Tapi perbezaannya adalah kalau untuk allopatric speciation, okay, the formation of new species occurs that is separated geographically because of what? It has or due to geographical barrier. But for sympathetic speciation, it will also form new species. Okay, but the species in the population live in the same geographic area. So means that for sympathetic speciation, it does not involve geographical isolation or it does not separate by geography. Okay. Okay, so the detail about allopatric speciation and also sympathetic speciation, so you can look at this diagram. Okay, so let's say this is the diagram of allopatric speciation. Okay, so let's say in this population, it has species A. Okay, and then what happened to species A once it is geographically separated by the geographical barrier? So it will form two subpopulation here. Okay, because of what? It will be separated by barrier. Dia dipisahkan oleh barrier. Okay, so for the example, geographical barrier is a river lah. Okay, so what happened after that? Okay, it will form, okay, two different population that has two different species. Okey, pada asalnya cuma species A saja. Bila berlaku allopatric speciation, so it will produce species A and also species B. So how allopatric speciation is occur? So you can look at this point. So firstly, geographical barrier resulting in separation of a species into isolated subpopulation. So means that bila adanya geographical barrier, okay, so dia akan menyebabkan berlaku separation, okay, of the species. And then it will be isolate. Isolate means dia akan dipisahkan, okay, into subpopulation. Maksudnya dia bukan berada dalam satu population yang sama. Okay, and then what happened after that? So gene flow between these two subpopulation is interrupted because geographical barrier prevent the two population from mating. Okay, so what is the meaning of gene flow? Okay, kalau kita tengok based on the definition, okay, based on this sentence, it mentioned that gene flow between these two population is interrupted. Maksudnya bila berlaku separation, okay, of this population into two subpopulation, so it can interrupt the gene flow. Okay, so what is gene flow? Gene flow means aliran gene. So macam mana boleh berlaku gene flow? Adalah melalui proses reproduction. So since these two population is separated, so means that reproduction cannot occur. So that's why geographical barrier will prevent the two population from mating. So since these two population cannot mating or cannot reproduce, so that's why it can interrupt the gene flow. Okay. And then next, genetic drift, natural selection or mutation cause the two population diverse genetically. Means that, let's say if this population undergo mutation, so the mutate gene, okay, only can be transferred into this population only. So dia tak boleh pass kepada population yang satu lagi. So that's why it will cause the two population diverse genetically. Means that berlaku perubahan dari segi genetik. So what happen? It will leads to change in allele and also genotype frequency from parent population. So when there are changes in genetic, okay, so directly it can also change the allele and also genotype frequency, which is this allele and genotype frequency does not same as its parent population. So we consider genetic isolation has occur. So maksudnya berlakulah perbezaan dari segi genetik, di mana genetik dia dah tak sama dengan parent population. Okay, so the two population cannot interbreed even if they reunite. Okay, so let's say if members from species B meet with the members from the species A, so what happened? These two species cannot interbreed with each other. Because of what? We considered both of this population are from different species. Kalau dia tak boleh interbreed, maksudnya kita tak consider dia sebagai satu species yang sama. So, what happened? Reproductive isolation has occurred. So, since tak boleh berlaku reproduction, okay, so berlakulah reproductive isolation. Okay, so what is the difference with sympathetic speciation? For sympathetic speciation, okay, so if you look at this one, it is the formation of new species, okay, but the species live in the same geographical area. So means that kita katakan, okay, this species tinggal dalam satu kawasan yang sama. Okay, maksudnya dia tak melibatkan geographical barrier. Okay, so kalau kita tengok based on this diagram, so this is the original population that consists of species A. Okay, but what happened after that? From this same geographical area, okay, it will be divided into two subpopulation, species A and also species B. Okay, so species B is a new species. Okay, so for sympathetic speciation, Okay, it is without geographical separation from its parent population because of what? Kalau awak tengok based on this diagram, okay, both of these species masih lagi tinggal dalam satu geographical area yang sama. But apa yang menyebabkan berlaku formation of new species? Because reproductive isolation occur through biological barrier factor. Okay. Reproduction isolation occur through biological barrier or biological factor. So what are the example of biological barrier? Such as chromosomal changes, okay, for the example, polyploidy, or non-random mating, or we can also say this one as sexual selection, and also habitat differentiation. Okay, maksudnya adalah apa yang kita katakan sebagai reproductive isolation, maybe the members of species B, okay, berlaku sexual selection. So means that dia hanya pilih pasangan yang berada pada kawasan dia sajalah. So maksudnya dia pilih pasangan. So ni yang kita panggil sebagai sexual selection. Or because of habitat differentiation. Habitat differentiation means maybe the members of the species B prefer, okay, habitat which is different from species A. Okay, let's say species B prefer habitat which is acidic soil, but species A prefer habitat which is alkaline soil. Okay, so bila berbeza dari segi habitat, so that's why boleh berlaku reproductive isolation. Okay, so that is the difference between allopatric and also sympathetic speciation.